Computer. Okay, I think this is happening now. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm just have a little bit of an introduction while waiting for more people come in. I have the idea of give this talk for quite a long time. I've done a couple in my clinic last year. I have intention to carry on because I realized by seeing patient one by one, that I can just help one by one. But if I can pass my knowledge and to help people to understand how to help themselves, I think that will be more beneficial. And also, a lot of people probably won't have opportunity to come to our clinic. So I would like more people to benefit from the Asian Chinese knowledge and about health. And during the lockdown, I heard a lot of lectures from China, not necessarily from China, from some scholars of Chinese, very, how to say, knowledgeable Chinese doctors, not necessarily in China, a lot of them actually in different parts of the world. And some really interesting lectures. And every time I listen to it, I said, gosh, I wish I can translate this and to give to the people here. So that's one of the main intention today. So today's talk and based on a few teacher, which I need to mention the name because I don't want people to feel like it's all from me. I mean, I'm studying and also a lot of information is a collective. One is from a doctor in Canada, in Canada, and called, his name is Zhang Shuyi, and also another doctor, actually he's in UK, in somewhere in the north. I have met him many times, very knowledgeable, is Bing Feng, and he had to give a few lectures, which is really interesting. And today's talk is about, and we all had the experience not locked down of by this virus. And I want to explain or to talk about how this virus, in terms of the Chinese medicine, Chinese classic medicine understanding, how this come. Because in a short while, I'm going to move to the slides I made last few days. Very rough. I'm not very good at technology, as a lot of people knows. So it gives you some idea, easy to follow with the slides. Okay, and let's see. Now I'm going to mute I think everyone will mute themselves already. Okay, I'm going to mute you. So at the end, I'm going to give people some time to question answer. I will do my best to question answer. Okay, mute all. Okay, and now I'm going to do these slides. Let's see where it is. Share. Where? Oh my God. Okay, share screen. Okay. All right. I believe you still can see me. Okay. As I say, the talk is mainly about, from classic Chinese medicine point of view, how we see the COVID-19. Okay. And I have a few things need to go through. The first of all, the most, I need to give a little bit introduction about the way of a Chinese lunar calendar, and also the classic Chinese medicine we call the 5 cosmic movement, or could say 5 elements, and the 6 qi. Then they say the 6 qi is the 6th. I need to explain a bit more in detail in a minute, but I'll just go through this five items. And also I have to talk about the beginning of the COVID-19 and how is the development explained by this concept, by this Chinese special kind of the cosmic movement and the energy, the 6 different qi in relation to lunar calendar. I think probably many people will know the lunar calendar, which is the different from the nowadays, like today is the 11th of June. And the lunar calendar is different. The Chinese year is different every year. That's based on lunar calendar. And the third one is a possible predict the future in this special year. And also I'm going to use a case study to explain how we look at this the COVID-19 and why. Part of the reason I give this talk, I basically want to help people to understand you don't need to be freaked out, to be so worried and also fearful about the situation. Actually, it's not that fearful. And then at the end, we'll probably give some basic practical information how to help ourselves and others. Yeah. The first of all, I need to talk about this lunar calendar things. Yeah. Is uh, first of all, talking about this 5 cosmic movement. And I drew a map. Well, I didn't draw the map. I find this on the internet. This is the easiest way to explain, but not really precise. Okay, this is talking about, I got the English around it. This is like we call the 5 element. So it's like we have in the universe, have all of this all the time anyway. So like fire is like summer. And then after summer, we will move to, we call this earth energies more like midsummer. It's right in the center. And then move to after the summer, we move to autumn, which is the metal part, earth metal. And then move to the water, we call it's the winter part. And then from winter, we go to the wood, is the spring part. Yeah. And this, can you see this, this arrow is go around? This we call the generating cycle. Yeah. I need to give this a little bit information so be easier for you to understand later on why I'm saying this. And then you can see those cross is the controlling cycle. And also see it's the clockwise, the arrow is generating cycle. And the crossover is controlling cycle. The reason I talk about this is lunar calendar is based on the 5 main star or constellation, how they move around the sun. And so each year is a slightly different. So they will call this the 5 different movement. It's like this 5 element. But the 5 element actually is different from 5 movement. But the name is similar. So I just use this to help to make sense. In China, in Chinese traditional classic Chinese medicine, or classically in China, each year have a name. This name have its meaning. Is in the fire, or it's in the earth, or in the metal, in the water, and depend on where the movement is in relation to the sun or the stars movement towards the distance to the sun. So that's why the name is different. And then we talked about earlier this 6 qi. The 6 qi is the 6 the qi of here I listed the 6 qi. The qi okay, 6 qi, there's cold and wind and the fire and the heat and dampness and dryness. This is on the we can feel this in the everyday life. And this is 6 qi, and combined with the cosmic movement, and always influence us. And so each year, the name is different. Each name gives what's the movement of the cosmic energy in relation, all those stars in relation to the sun. and also on the earth, those 6 different qi, the changes, and how they related to each other can influence our, when we're born, influence our personality, influence our constitution. Is very, very similar to the Western, the astrology. Are you born like you're born in say, different astrology sign have a different personality. This is very similar. Now I need to explain a little bit about each year. We all have a full season, right? So on this line is talking about the season. Hope you can see this arrow, but divided into 6 in relation to these 6 energies, the 6 energy, yeah. And then the dividing time is here is like 20th of January to 20th of March. And each section have roughly about 2 months. And let's see this. And because the season always the same, so which means this part is unchangeable. This one's unchangeable one is always the wingwood beginning, which is the spring. You know, at the beginning of the spring is the grass start to grow and the trees start grow and have wings and to start growing. That's why it's the wing and wood. And the next one, we're getting towards the summer, is the fire. And after that, we call the midsummer, so the heat and summer. And this one, okay, this is divided into 6, so it's actually overlapping. The first part actually overlaps the winter and the spring. The second part, more of a spring. Yeah, spring when everything starts grow out completely now. And this is the part of spring in the first one, the first section. The second is more spring. That's I divided myself because I always help people to understand. And then the third one is more spring and the summer. And then afterwards is the summer. You know, summertime when it's raining, there's more dampness. So this is all spring and all summer part. So you can get really hot, it get really wet, and then it's autumn. Autumn tend to be dry, and then it's winter. Okay, this is unchangeable one. But each year, there's a changeable one. The unchangeable one is as if it's like is unchangeable one. It is like we all have a house. How many people live in the house, have a family? That's always like that. But sometimes you have these friends come to visit, and then another time I have maybe relative come to visit. They are all guests. So some of the guests arrive in your family and really bring the joy. Another type of guest maybe give you stress, and it's the same in the cosmic energy. Each year there's a guest energy. The guest energy each year completely different. Okay, before I carry on and talk about the guest energy, and each year have the big movement called the cosmic book. The big movement energy each year is different. This year's big movement is called, I'll go back to this chart, is the metal. Okay. And they have a special name. The reason I have a name, then we will know what kind of a main energy like. So, and last year is Earth. So the year after, next year will be here. So it's go around this cycle. Okay. And so this year is the metal. And also each one of these five movement have plus and a minor one. So, and according to the years, which year is, and this year is 2020, the zero were related to the plus. So we have this plus sign of metal. But if it's the year finish at number 5, say 1995, and it will still will be a metal, but will be minus, which means the energy is excess or deficient. And then last year is the Earth's energy in the deficiency. The reason I talk to this is each year is the main movement as if is the emperor. Probably that's the easy way. That's the emperor. This the whole year's the set out is the emperor is the is metal strong, and then each year have 2 ministers. One look after the first half year, and then one look after the second half year. Now go back to this one. So this is the one to look after first half year, and this is the one look after the second half year. I think I better say this because if people listen to the audio wouldn't understand. For the first, to look after first half year is this year is the fire energy. And then to look up the second half of the year is metal dryness. Okay. And do you remember I talked earlier about this year's energy is a metal plus. Metal plus is, which means quite a lot. Metal energy is cool and dry. So what's happened? The cool and dry energy is the main energy. And although many people doesn't really know much about Chinese medicine, but the metal energy related to the lung and the large intestine. What we're having COVID-19 is to do with the lung, okay? That's part of the reason that. So this energy is overly strong. And also another reason we have a difficult time is every 60 year in this particular year is called the Gengzi year. The Gengzi year, it will happen every 60 years. So every 60 years is a cycle. This Gengzi is always challenge year. It's not just challenge in the having illness, having virus, and it will challenge in a lot of sense. Because in this particular year, the energy of these 6 qi, the qi different in the earth, the energy is kind of is not in the smooth cycle with the big movement of cosmic energy. Actually, it's against that or controls it. So which the heavens not very happy. So kind of like really giving the earth energy bit of a hard time. So that's what has happened. It's happened like that. If you think the earth and the cosmic energy having a really difficult time, and what's happened to us, we are all influenced by those energies. And this, as this year is metal, okay? This metal energy is strong. Metal related to the lung and large intestine. However, according to what those people use this classic method to understand how the universe energy move, how they influence our health, how they influence the weather, and understand actually this COVID-19 is not really started the beginning of this year, actually started from end of last year. And let's go back to this chart. Okay, this last the screen, this 6G is this year is a metal axis. You can see on the top, metal axis. But last year's energy, the main movement of cosmic energy is Earth deficient. When Earth deficient, Earth related spleen and stomach. So really the problem is initially from there. And also let's have a look at the last bit of the chi in 2019, which is the heat. See the heat energy here. And the main seasons, never changing one, is winter, is cold. So and people who practice Chinese medicine probably realize last year after Christmas, around Christmas, so many people had a cold, have a cough, and this cough just won't go. And especially if you use normal treatment, seems to just not go because this heat here affecting it. The last energy in last year's, so which is around Christmas and the beginning of January, affect us very much. That's why so many people have a dry cough and wouldn't go. So if you understand this, it will give you some idea like you realize, okay, this is actually, we need warmth because of the cold weather. And also we need some kind of a cooling. That sounds like contradict, but it's not. Need both and or need a lubricate, things to lubricate the dryness. That can help people's cough to get better. So saying that is really to help people to understand how the progression of the COVID-19 happened, because the year before is the Earth's energy deficient, so affect a lot of people's digestive problem already. So last year, a lot of actually digestive issue and also Earth energy related spleen. Spleen is like a muscle bulk. So muscle, a lot of people have a like back pain, muscle tendon linked together. They have an injury of back, things like quite a lot of that. Yeah, and also a lot of women have long period and the bleeding lasts longer and things like because of the spleen not holding the blood back into the vessel. This may be a little bit too technical for the public, but you just remember this. If the Earth's energy too deficient, you have a bleeding easily. Yeah, it's not happen to everyone. Yeah, because everyone's birth is different. Depending your birth chart, you may be influenced by certain energy more than the other. Yeah. So now we go back to this year, 2020, the metal axis. This year's metal axis, and we all remember this year, the spring is really cold. You see this first energy, 太阳 water cold. It's a spring, but the guest energy coming in to this section or this season is really cold. But the wood need warmth to start grow, or the tree and the grass. We can have a look this year. This year's growing things actually is not that great. I'm doing my own garden, grow vegetable, actually so slow because too cold. Yeah, so that's what affect us. And also probably we all remember at beginning of the year or end of last year, we had a really very strange weather, either really cold, like in China had some kind of like past the spring had the very heavy snowing in a lot of places. And also we had what's that called, the rain, but it's like oh dear, what's that English name, the like ice coming down. So we had a really very strange weather. And then so this virus is really started from the Earth's energy and then moved to the metal axis energy. So metal, as I say, related to the lung. So obviously, this we have it's like the flu type, but much more severe. I'm talking about this progression from the Earth's energy to the metal. The reason is we all know a lot of symptoms this year's COVID-19 is people lost taste. Taste is related to the spleen, and the stomach related to the earth. So that's why a lot of people lost taste. So it's the progression down to this year's metal excess energy is the lung and large intestine. Yeah. And then people will have and eventually lost the smell. When they lose smell, actually that's much more severe because smell is more related to the lung. That's much more severe. If it's only just in the earth part, which lost the appetite, lost taste, and that hasn't really get to so severe. And also, obviously, a lot of people overcome the COVID-19, but they still feel tired, still feel no appetite. It's because haven't resolved the last year's leftover problem there and related to the Earth's energy. So obvious for the practitioner, be useful to think about that part. If people have that, you need to think about treating that part. Okay, I'm not talking too much about in relation to practitioner, more for the public. So for public, if you think, okay, I still hasn't got my taste or my appetite back, maybe you need to find a way, whatever the treatment you choose, to really maybe deal with your digestive issue. If you deal with your digestive issue, the other part will change anyway. Yeah. So that's the progression of this, and this virus, once from China moved to the West, is already changed its strength. It's a bit different, and affect. This affect people in the West quite a lot is because metal is related to the West and the Earth is more related to Asia. That is energetically, okay. The next one is possible the prediction. Yeah, let me just use this chart. Okay, I think I mentioned to quite a few people because I listened to so many lectures during the lockdown. Actually, I had a great time. I think the best time. I never had so much rest and reflection. So I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry, I did enjoy it, and rethink about life as well. So, and I decided I want to pass those information to people. That's one of the things. Yeah. Okay. So the worst time we had actually is towards the end of the first part of season. From the end of the first part is the 20th of March. You remember that's the time when start getting a bit panic. We're going to lock down or not lock down, or the government going to let everyone infected and get natural immunity or lockdown. That's the changing part, because that's the change of the energy, because it's just starting getting more of the infection. And then when we get to 20th of March, that's already changed the energy. 20th of March to 20th of May is a different energy, is wind wood energy over the fire. So because this virus is more in relation to the cold, so actually towards the end of March is much more severe. By the time we get to March to May is the beginning part of the section, which is March, whole March, probably still going up, but actually by the towards 20th of May is really everything start going downhill, the virus. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why there's a lot of prediction according to this classic way of looking at the energy in the cosmic and also the 6G in the earth, they combined, how this change can influence the change of virus. So there's a lot of prediction basis by the 21st of May, that's the first day of another energy change, which is double amount of the heat. Because people may remember, say, and at least I told many people who had it, say you need to drink plenty of hot water, not cold water. That's one of the way actually to clear the virus, the quickest way to drink warm water. So by the 21st of May, that energy changed to the fire, the guest energy is fire, and the unchanging climate, the energy is a heat, fire and heat. So the both is warmth. That's why the virus is, the strength is disappear. I actually today I read another information from China as well. Said basically they did test people who had COVID-19 test positive, but when they test the virus, and those people normally have no symptom at all, when they test the virus, they said the strength is very weak already. So you might have that, but the strength is not there anymore. So it is going. So the idea I'm talking about is that if you understand this, actually go with the change of the cosmic energy. So it's going, it's like the mosquitoes. Mosquito in certain time, certain temperature, they are deadly poison. But when you see a mosquito in winter, it's not really. So because the changing, and also if we know each year's the flu, the virus is same each year, change and change, and the strength is different, and also by certain time more or less finish. As because we had a really cold early spring, and also plus this particular year we call the Gengzi year, which in relation to the cosmic energy is really not happy with the earth energy because they are having a fight. So that's why the climate really not in favor of human body. And then also plus each person's birth chart is different. So certain birth chart, one will affect it more, another probably affect less. And also people who understand how to look after health, they will go along with the change of energy. They may find it easy to overcome that. So therefore, basically, there's no need to be too scared, okay? And of course, need cautious. But there's many ways you can protect yourself, yeah. And I think one of the most important, if we have a positive attitude, we understand about we are part of the universe. We go along with how the universe works, and then we'll help ourselves. And I noticed during the lockdown, the weather is glorious, but when you go out with the sun, but actually can be so cold. And when I saw people wear shorts and t-shirts, I just thought, actually, if it's really hot, that's fine, but it's not hot, but actually the air is really cold. But if people don't understand that, they dress that way, that's how they get ill. So that's one of the things I want people to really to feel the temperature accordingly, to dress properly. Although it's sunny, if it's windy, if it's really cold air, you need to dress properly, because the when our surface energy is called, it's a bit like the immune system. If that's not protected, an outside will attacking you. So that's something you need to bear in mind. Another thing is by the end of the year, this one probably is more related to China. By the end of the year, the energy moved to Earth's dampness because this virus, according to this classic Chinese medicine, certain expert, those people practice for a long time, use this method, said because originally started from the Earth, so possible there's some may reappear a bit, but will be different, probably more in China. So that's, I just repeat what I learned, okay? So that's about the progression of, and now I'm going to use a case. This one is not, oh, probably I don't need to. Okay, this maybe is worth mentioning. I talk about each year, every one of us, the time we're born, it determined our DNA, determine our astrology sign, so determine our personality, and our Eastern medicine in classic Chinese medicine. This the year you're born, the month you're born, determine the 5 cosmic movement and the 6 G's position. And then it's similar like the DNA, it's similar like your constitution. But here, I think this is absolutely right. Is in the past decade, epigenetic research has established that DNA blueprints passed down through genes are not set in concrete at birth. Genes are not destiny. I think this, I hope more and more people will realize this, because I do believe this is true. We do born with certain destiny, but we can change that by various kind of positive practice. And here this carry-on says environmental influence, including nutrition, stress, emotions, can modify those genes without changing their basic blueprint. This is by Bruce Lipton in his quite well-known book called The Biology of Belief. Yeah, I think probably many people have read this book. I think this is absolutely correct. So what I'm trying to say is, if we know what type of constitution, if we know, understand a bit more of those, so we can go along with the energy chain to protect ourselves. And also by what I'm saying about the gene are not destiny is by changing our attitude towards life and changing our environment, changing the way our thinking, changing the way how we deal with the stress, how we deal with emotion. That's all will help our immune system. During this lockdown, I had a few clients contact me. I had a video kind of consultation. I sent her, and I noticed it's I think it's the fear really doesn't help people. If we can overcome the fear, a lot of other things is much easier to do, because COVID-19 is not really difficult to treat. And I had to look one of the NHS the chart, how many people died from or caught up the COVID-19 or died from it. Actually, the number the Chinese community, I think, have the lowest number because I would say a lot of them seek the treatment from the mainly from the Chinese herbal medicine, and also use various kind of self-protection, the Asian method, to protect themselves. And among my classmates or colleagues, because I am involved in huge big group of Chinese medicine practitioner group during the COVID-19. We set up a lot of groups to help Chinese community during this time. And if people know me well, I haven't had much involvement with Chinese community, but this time I did, not directly, but I saw how much help they get from the Chinese medicine doctor, how much they got the good result from the Chinese herb and decoction and also other help. So they are, and also in China, obviously, people probably know some of the information from China, and Chinese medicine part actually made a huge difference in this COVID-19 in China. So I'll give a case to discuss. And this case is, and I asked this lady, I think she may be in the group. And she had I think she definitely had a COVID-19, and which is really terrified her. Yeah. And I want to show you her birth chart. Her birth chart is, let me see, in constitution, chronic condition. Okay, her birth chart is a fire axis. Okay, here on the top, that's her birth chart, fire axis. So one of the things, the most important, actually, the dry cough and the fever, this, actually I gave her some herb, actually that's gone quite quickly, I believe. And but afterwards, what's left over is more of a panic, terrible fear. Why is that now? Because the fire their fires always go upwards. And then we got the energy in the second period, which is from 21st to 20th May. That's during this period she had it. The guest energy is wind. The wind plus the fire. Wind and the fire, what's happened if you put wing wood? If you have a wing, have a fire, that will fire get bigger. And the fire going upwards was give people, basically, if energy rushing up, they will feel very, very anxious, can't settling down. Any little things will trigger, oh my God, I can't help this, I'm going to die, and all of those. That's in her constitution will have this tendency. So, I mean, once we understand this, and I suggest her take deep breaths, to do some breathing exercise that can go, when I remember when I helped her, and it can go calm down very quickly. But then when she left me, a little thing she starts thinking will trigger that happen again. So the reason I give this example is if you know what type of energy you have this tendency, like things like if you do exercise, that can bring that energy down. And also I remember for her constitutionally, although she got fire energy, that's her main energy, main the like a DNA type, yeah, main constitution, but she got a lot because let me see, the year, the months she was, I didn't put the months. Okay, I remember her birth, the months is more related a lot of coldness. So which means her constitution, they have a lot of coldness down below, have a heat on the top, what's happened with the heat on the top, cold down below, because nothing can hold that heat down. The heat just, little things will trigger, go up. So the only way can bring the heat down is to get the lower part warm, the heat will come down. So I asked her, I said, can you just soak your feet? I gave her some herb. If you don't like the herb, tastes horrible, that's fine. If you soak your feet in the herb, in the hot water, that can bring energy, start circle, bring the fire come down. That will help. So that's the reason I explain this case. Let me see. Oh, and also when we look at the person's constitution and plus this year's energy affecting this particular person is the acute condition. But when I talk about her constitution have a tendency get anxious, that's more on her constitution. That's the year she was born, give that constitution that. But then the acute condition part is will influence her symptom, like the wind plus the fire will really dries out, can give the dryness and the fever at the beginning of the COVID-19. I hope that explained that. What else? I think that's all I need to. Oh yeah, I do want to give a few general information about how can we help myself, and because this has happened in the history many times. This type of similar type of a virus happened in China, especially and in around the world, like a Spanish flu. That's although it's from America, but end up Spanish got the name, which is a bit of unfair actually. But the virus can be, we can protect ourselves from the virus, and a lot of natural things we can do. In Asia, we use a lot of herbs. I remember when I was younger, every year when there's a flu around, we always burn herbs. The herb burn. Now I'm going to move the screen back to here so I can show people. That's the herb I use in the clinic. I burn them. They call the cangzhu. So for people who are practitioner, if you burn this herb, also including moxa, this is very effective to kill the virus, basically. So I burn them in the clinic. So actually the clinic is protected. Another thing I want to show to people, I have used last couple months during the lockdown for myself and the family friends, is actually is a product from America. It's quite good quality essential oil. This essential oil, this particular one is really good for. It's called. I hope people can see. Called On Guard, and this particular company called Todaro. Could you write the name down? Okay, if I can work out where do I write it, I'll find out how to write it. Okay, I'll put it in the last slides and I give to people. Yeah, and another one you can use. This one same. I put in the diffuser. Put in diffuser so you can smell it. It's a lovely smell, and you can make into hand spray. You can mix with water, with alcohol combined, and use and put quite a few drops, mix them, and then to spray on. Has been tested by this company. If they use those spray to clean the surface of say kitchen, yes, that's right. Good, thank you. Someone write it down. doTERRA, On Guard. Thank you. Yeah, Changzhu, thank you. Write it down. And also compare with the hospital one, the general spray to clean the bacteria. And the On Guard lasts much longer than the hospital's spray. Yeah. And also recently, I just saw some information from the lady who introduced me about this those oil. I have the whole set. I have the whole set. This I can use, and they actually tested. They killed the COVID-19 virus, and but it's combined with on guard and oregano. I think some people call it oregano. Oregano. So is anyone good at spelling than me? Can write it down. Oregano herb. They are extremely good for what's that thing grow on the feet? Oh, someone used it. It's really good. The fungus on the feet, fungus on the nail, they're very good. So you can see can kill really strong virus. So probably that's why it can kill the COVID virus. Yeah, I think we got. Yeah, sorry, I'll just unmute everyone. Everyone, you can if any questions, but I will see the last slide. So anyone can ask question. I'll just do the last slide. I want to put this one. So if you are interested in more talks in relation to health, and please send feedback. And yeah, okay. So any question, go ahead. Stop sharing. Yeah. I hope.
Yes, Snow. Hi, Snow. It's Luella. I was just interested because at the beginning of the year, I realised everyone was talking about it being the year of the rat, and it was meant to be a really good year because rat was in metal and all that sort of thing. And then COVID hit. It didn't seem to be as good anymore. So was that expected, or was it expected?
It's very much expected, because if another year's rat maybe will be okay, but this particular rat year is Geng means metal, is a metal energy too strong, and Zi means the red. So these two combined together only happen every 60 years, according to the I Ching, the combination. You know, the 5 movement plus the 6 chi, 6 energies, they combine together, 5, 6 is 30. But then we got excess and deficiency. They combine together, the 6. So there's 60 combinations. 60 combinations always have a challenge one. Unfortunately, this is the challenge one. So we know before this year happened, among the Chinese community who study about those this type of treatment, we all know it's going to be really challenging year, and also a lot of predictions about related to the lung and also cardiovascular condition as well, because the metal. Do you remember the cycle one? Either go around regenerating or controlling one. The metal control with the fire energy is a controlling cycle. And also this year, and then so the fire energy more related to the cardiovascular, heart condition or brain, and all related to the blood. And also the cycle between the metal and the wood energy related to the tendon. The tendon and the wood also related to the liver or gallbladder. So this year we'll have, or already have, a lot of people come to the clinic, something to do with their gallbladder, liver. If they had a problem before, they start, why has it got worse? I already got quite a few people. I explained to them why it's got worse. So also, I explained to some practitioners that, like, when you do the treatment, to consider this. If people have a pain condition, if you do just generally, people understand Chinese medicine, how we treat, which are, oh, well, I have a back pain, we're going to treat the kidney energy because the kidney on the back treat. But not necessary. You need to consider the metal over control the wood. So the wood energy need to be looked after, maybe need to strengthen that. That's the to do with the liver gallbladder, need to harmonize that. And yeah, I think that's, sorry, have I
But
answered?
I thought that from the predictions that I'd read,
Hmm.
that actually they said it was going to be a really good rat year, rather than a difficult rat year. So
Very.
maybe I just read the wrong ones.
I think you read probably
Everyone, it's going to be a great year.
probably read is, no, maybe it's okay for you, but it's not bad for everyone. But in the overall, the whole of the world, it is very challenging year. If you look back in history, in 1960s is one of the worst time, because that's before I was born. My parents told me how dreadful. 3 years, not enough food. So many people died. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
before that is the 1980, 1980, no, uh, uh, 1960, then minus 60, that's 1880. That's another disaster things happen in China. And then another 6 years forward is the Opium War. And it's, oh, if you look at the history, it's always something really dramatic.
Yeah.
And also I have to say, and next year we're getting a bit better, still a little bit, but after next year we're going much easier, because next year's energy is still is the earth, the chi energy having a fight with the cosmic energy. If I'm having a fight rather than go along with it, it's always the influence the human in between. Well, I hope I answer your question.
Yeah.
So Snow, do you think, from what you said, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the next, after the 23rd of July, and then the next 2 months, etc., is this COVID thing, is it dying out? Then you said at the end of the year it could come back again?
That's from what I heard. People really deeply studied those type of methods. They said there is a possibility have a slightly different way coming in, but not as bad as the beginning of the year.
Yeah. And
I don't
next
think
year,
you need to worry too much. Yeah.
no, okay.
Yeah.
And next year is going to be difficult, but not as, do you think that
No,
would be through illness?
not as difficult, not as difficult. But the things once it happen difficult time, once happens so dramatic, it will take a bit of time to recover.
Yeah.
Economically, it will take time. And like it happened in China, when there's no food, nothing to eat, it's not the next year suddenly harvest. It doesn't really go that way. It's gradually come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But health-wise, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you not think that people's wood and liver gallbladder problems are during lockdown are also because they're drinking more? You were saying that metal's overacting on wood.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, if they drink more, yes, they will affect them, but probably not everyone, depend on their constitution. And also I have, as I mentioned, because the metal control the wood related to the tendons, and then tendon linked with the bone, and a lot of people have injury. I mean, last couple months, I have 2 close friends have a broken bones. And also another thing remember is because the wood energy is rising, the rising always on the left side, rising up, then have this circle and then coming down. So a lot of symptoms tend to happen on the left. And interesting enough is both these 2 friends have a broken bones on the left. I just think it's not quite coincident.
And are you doing a lot of touch needling treatment for this?
Well, I'm
You know, your course.
only just starting. Yeah.
Yeah, true. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you know, from your touch needle course,
Yeah.
would any of that be appropriate for this?
Yes, you can. And also,
Yeah.
if you think it's more related to the young, I think we better not talk about too much the technical one, because there's a lot of people from the public, they probably is too technical, and we can find another opportunity to do it. Yeah. Right. Any?
Hi, Snow, it's Sasha.
Hi.
Hello, thank you for all your wisdom.
You're welcome.
So kind of, I know that it's about COVID, but kind of everything you're saying, especially with like when the seasons change.
Yeah.
What is that going to mean? I don't know anyone else's kind of stance on this, but I mean, what's that going to mean spiritually?
Whenever there's a big challenge, and I think it will always influence people, and the people have a three type of the direction to go. Either they go back to exact the same, or people want to fight, or people actually really retrieve and reflect to change direction in life. And I do feel many people reflect, change direction in life, and have a better understanding about the value of life. And that's how I feel, because to me, maybe I say this, it's a bit of how do I say, if people have had a lot of fear, had a lot of challenge, will find a bit difficult to accept that. For me, I feel this situation is a blessing for me. Otherwise, I would never have opportunity to have such a long time to reflect internally and to discover a lot of my own dilemma, and to see how should I serve people, to what's the reason I'm in this world, to be an acupuncturist, to treat people. I think I probably can do differently to help more people. That's why I do this talk. And also, like, I decide to change the way I look, so not to change the way I work, and decide to work less and to have time to do things like this. And I heard many of my clients said the same as well. They said they can never go back that way. And also, one of the way you can check about yourself where you are is see what's the people around you. That's your reflection of your inner world. What you are, what you said spiritually, and I think that's one of the, I felt, if you progress, constant learning, constant improve yourself, you find the people around you seems getting better and better, nicer and nicer. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Thank you, Snow, very much.
Yeah.
So with the whole thing with the seasons changing though, because I feel like kind of with each season there's like a new emotion that's being evoked in everyone, because it seems to be like a collective feeling that people feel, whether it's fear or anger or sadness. It seems to be a collective type of thing. So what's kind of the next one that's coming?
What do you mean next one?
So I feel like the first one that to begin with was fear, and then I feel anger came into it.
All right.
I feel like there's a range of emotions.
That's individually is different, depend on your constitution. But there's one thing I want to mention, just for general public, is because I talk about the mental controls the wood, and the wood is because related to the liver and gallbladder. That's more related in relation to mental states like depression. So we will find a lot of people this year, if they do have depression, they will find it more difficult. Or people have a tendency to get depressed they'll find it difficult as well. And another thing is, because the metal and it's related lung and the large intestine, which is in relation to the skin, people who have a skin condition this year can be very challenged as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Snow.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Snow, is the skin condition related to the spleen? Sorry.
Metal, the lung and large intestine.
The lung and the large intestine. Thank you.
All right, I think we need probably by the time to finish. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Snow.
Thank you, Snow.
Thank you.
Thank
You've been
you.
great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Great.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Many familiar faces. Really nice to see you all. Yeah.
I have a bad hair day. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording.